Hello everyone. This is Ken Christopher Hinaloc, and this video is for MMS 115. Just wanted to put it out there in case you're watching the wrong video. By the way, you may notice that my eyes will move weirdly, but that is because I'm using the NVIDIA broadcast eye contact, something fascinating technology. But of course, anyway, since this is law and multimedia, I'm going to be expecting it to be related to law. Wow. But particularly, it's going to be more on how law interplays with multimedia, about the different parts of law and the different parts of multimedia, or perhaps even each of their collective properties with how they play with one another. It may be something political, economic, or systemic, or possibly even related to sociology, or I don't know, even perhaps in the deepest recesses of the mind, psychological. But of course, I'm going to be expecting there's going to be some talk about ethics because, yeah, ethics and law, we create the law and the ethics and morals we accept or and create subconsciously, of course, translates to what we want society to be, or what society to be. That is law. But yeah, there's a simplification, and that's definitely not expert information, by the way. But anyway, what challenges am I expecting to encounter in this course? In MMS 115, I expect it to be. I'm not sure if this is going to be quite true, but I'm expecting it to be. There's a lot of law languages or jargons, basically. But I think considering that the FIC has a background with multimedia and communication, I'm sure they're aware of the importance of communicating materials, especially in an academic setting, in a simpler language. But yeah, also considering it's remote learning, so it's in paramount importance. But of course, there's downsides to dumbing down complex concepts into simpler languages. But for the sake of teaching, I would think it's going to be in simple languages. So I'm also expecting it to be quite understandable. If not, maybe the FIC will just give us academic materials that are actually written in law jargon. Then best of luck to all of us, I guess. Uh, yeah, although being quite a complex and difficult subject, especially since it's law, or at least difficult for me because I don't have a background, nor am I interested in learning in law, actually, unfortunately. But I guess in a fundamental way, we're only quite aware of how law works, but that's different to actually knowing law. It's like a superficial understanding, like most of us nowadays. But yeah, law is like for me, law is like a law is like a uh subconscious force that we where we already exercise or follow partially because of the social contract and the morals that has been taught to us throughout the years from our parents, teachers, guardians, or even peers in social media. And in real life, of course, if you have one, that is where, by the way, a culture comes into mind, upbringing, the environment, and in general, the country you live in. Because of this, law is something that's quite elusive, but at the same time, it's something that we always, or at least for me, assume to be relatively straightforward and inherent or subject to hindsight bias. Like, for example, you shouldn't steal, kill, cheat, eat dogs. Is that even allowed? Maybe in some cultures. But yeah, that's an example of how culture affects morality, ethics, and then how it affects law. But yeah, I'm going off tangent. I don't know. I don't want to go philosophical about this, and this frankly unsolicited mumbling. But yeah, I'll be expecting that here, and I'll also be expecting those challenges. But I think another challenge would be there's definitely a lot of reading. There's going to be a lot of reading stuff about law in the context of multimedia, of course. But when I read the course guide, it's not that complicated yet. By the way, this is what I mean by simple stuff that are actually complicated than we think, which is actually an issue that's not quite talked about. That is the Dunning-Kruger effect, or even just arrogance. You may know about that, but that's I don't know. Everyone just okay. So what? But yeah, UP anyway. UPOU has surprised me with actually giving useful or educational materials that really goes in depth to what we usually know. For example, we have here in the course guide, UPLU has a tendency to give out relatively simple terminologies in the course guide that we would like to think that we already know. It's really straightforward. For example, it's outlined in the course guide about freedom of speech, free speech, and false information, libel, and then obscenity, copyright, trademark, patent, data privacy. And I think being a multimedia student, or especially when you are a digital creator, most of us are aware with data privacy, copyright, and trademarks, and patent, libel, or especially if you're politically active, libel, or free speech and false information. We're quite knowledgeable, quote unquote, about that. So I don't think we'll be having trouble with that. But yeah, I'm expecting to be reading quite a lot of nuance and advanced areas of these concepts beyond the superficial understanding of the those subjects or terms. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited to learn about the different nuances of the relatively simpler terms, at least in hindsight. But yeah, just like I said, I don't really have a background in law, but I do have an idea of how law works. I think all of us do, the executive, legislative, and judicial, and we're in democracy, and we are all, uh, yes, swayed by political propaganda because, frankly, we are too lazy and subject to cognitive biases that can't even reflect, bec- yeah, to do effective democratic practices. And I think that's how, I guess, in a way, multimedia and law works. And through law, perhaps we can mitigate those issues uh, to lessen fake news. And, yeah, the problem of misinformation. But uh, yeah, I don't like learning law, unfortunately, because after watching movies or TV series about law students or bar exams or documentaries of bar exams, it's quite overwhelming. And I guess there's also bad influence on multimedia's part or people in general. I'm sorry, there's construction and how they quote unquote train people's mind culturally and how they perceive law. Let's wait for it. I'm sorry, I'll have to cut this part. I think we'll just have to continue. And I guess that's also bad influence on multimedia's part or people in general and how they quote unquote train people's mind or scare people's mind culturally of how they perceive law. See what I did there? Law and multimedia. Yay. But yeah, I guess they're not wrong. It's the real side of law. Law really is difficult. But I wish they weren't depicted that scarily because of medicine courses, for example, or computer science subjects, for example. They're also difficult, to be honest. But yeah, they're not scarily depicted. I don't know. I may just be stuck in a multimedia echo chamber. I don't know, dude. But I think that's all for my introduction. But I guess the part that is not quite relevant to the course is that if you want to know me, I'm basically Kent, very popular and distinguishable name. I play Minecraft, Dota, not Genshin, hashtag no gacha, gambling, predatory waifu husband material. Yes, I still play Minecraft. I'm currently playing Hogwarts Legacy and Starfield. I have i5, 13th gen, and 3070 is a graphics card. And I like science, technology, philosophy, religion as well, although I'm not particularly active. But I'm interested in how religion and spiritualism plays a role in the moral cultural fabric of society that really will affect the trajectory of where we're heading. I'm introverted, sensing, thinking, and perceiving. I like anime, but I don't really like fictional entertainment, which is ironic. I'm currently taking care of our new dog named Lawi, the one you see in the background. But yeah, I think that's all for me. And again, I'm Kent. I'm looking forward to this trimester with you guys. Good luck.